Are you ready to listen to my dad Joe and Uncle Justin talk about sports? Now on with the show.
The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years.
So get ready! I mean, get ready! Are you ready for some football?
You are listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. A weekly podcast about sports since 2011. With a focus on football. Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. A surprise Joe Mays and J-Raff Show because, well, we weren't supposed to be here tonight. It was supposed to be a Bulldog Hour broadcast, but our guest was unavailable for the date, so we pivoted. But that means we get Justin and I here to discuss football, as we normally do. But we're going to be talking NFL. It's time, Justin, for our preview for the 2026 NFL season. It is here, Justin, because as I said, on I think Bulldog Hour, I think when we were on with Russ Tucker about 6 weeks ago, I said football starts May 1st.
Right.
That's the start of football season is May 1st.
Honestly, that's being generous on your part because the draft is a week before that. So,
right, yeah, it's true.
Well,
that's still off season.
Oh, okay,
that's
fair.
That's off season,
and that
time.
concludes the off season.
Exactly.
And here we go.
Yeah, there's a 1 week break between the draft and May 1st. Maybe it's only a 2 day break.
My dad was like, "What are you guys talking about?" I'm like, "Football." And he's like, "Wait, Eagles football or like NFL football?" I was like, "Yeah,
absolutely."
And he's like, "I don't know that I've heard anything." Like, well, it's interesting because we were flooded with Eagles news early in the player transaction periods, but then since then it has kind of simmered down a little bit. But.
It has, and I assume your dad asked football as in American football because obviously right now we're in World Cup time. You're not going to get that talk on this show, and I know Justin's following it much more closely. I will stop the show. I will just be like, nope. I don't look. If you enjoy the World Cup, more power to you. Obviously, I want the Americans to do well. They are so far. I know they have a quote easy path, possibly to this Sweet 16 or whatever it would be.
Yeah,
maybe even the Elite Eight.
Right,
because they have one more game in pool play this Thursday against Turkey?
Turkey, yeah, who's already eliminated.
Okay,
because of the tiebreak rules.
All right,
even if they were to lose, Turkey's out.
So.
Which is a surprise. Like Turkey was.
Oh, were they? Okay.
Turkey was supposed.
That's the kind of stuff I can't contribute. So,
Turkey was supposed to be the team that contended with the U.S. to get out of the group.
Okay, but they did not.
No, got upset in the first one, and then upset in the second one too. But you could tell it was one of those where after the first game, everybody's like, "Oh, maybe this isn't the team everybody thought."
Interesting.
It's hard to get a grip on the teams a little bit.
All right. So I guess I was still. Thinking that France and Spain are the two favorites.
Sorry,
is that right?
Favorites from the groups.
Yeah, no. Right. Okay, I understand.
France and Spain are overwhelming favorites in terms of taking it all home.
Okay. I went with France. I entered the DoorDash redemption challenge thing that you're going to split the pot of DoorDash money with whoever. Like, if your team wins, whoever the number of people that pick will split. I forget what amount of money in DoorDash credits. So I was like, what do I have to lose? So I immediately was like, who's the favorites? And I think Spain was 1 and France was 2. And I was like, you know what? All I think about is 20 years ago when I was in college and Zidane headbutted someone.
Yeah, and got red carded and sent off.
But they won. But France won, right?
Or
did they lose to Brazil?
Lost.
Okay.
They lost to Brazil that
well, then I'm saying they're going to finish the job this time, and I'm going to get DoorDash credits because I picked France. So obviously, I want
Zidane, that might have been Italy. It might have been Italy.
Was it Italy?
I don't remember,
Okay.
but I remember it
was
happening.
20
yes.
years ago now, believe it or not. But I was down in Philadelphia last night, so I saw the FIFA stuff
yes.
in and around
The Philadelphia Stadium?
The Phil, yeah. Do not get me started, Justin. Do not. Do not. But obviously, there's been a stuff flooding all of my feeds, World Cup related, and I'm happy for you. Enjoy it.
Right.
I might tune in if the U.S. actually gets super far. I know people are jokingly being like, "This is our year," and I'm like, until you prove a little bit more to me, there's no way I'm buying into that.
Absolutely, because it's also one of those things where like the game changes when you get into the knockout round because
right.
like there is no tie. Like, well, it's weird. They technically do have ties. It's just then they go to
Kicks,
the
right?
kicks, and that decides who advances.
Which is
so it
dumbest.
still counts as a tie
Ugh.
as the result. It just all right. Who's going to go on? It's basically a tiebreaker.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
I know you don't want to get into this, and we don't need to spend a lot of time. I've heard this interesting idea about like the end about how they should do penalty kicks first, right? And the winner of penalty kicks is up by half a goal.
Oh,
all right. And so
okay.
then you change we'll play for penalty kicks because one team already has a lead, and so stuff has to happen. And I'm like,
I don't know that I don't know that I hate that.
Right? I know. Yeah, but that's a story for a different time.
Sure.
And
100%.
hopefully the U.S. can keep it rolling. But.
I hope so. I don't have a lot of hope, and I know that.
Well, no, it's a different game when you get out of the group stage. So we'll see.
All right, so that's it for our World Cup talk.
Right.
Sorry, you can't come here for that kind of football, but you can get the American kind. And we're rapidly approaching the semi-quincentennial of the nation. 250
Couldn't have said it better
years.
myself.
And that's actually the next Joe Mays and J-Raff show will be the day after that event, because not only is the United States celebrating 250 years, but I'll be celebrating 17 years of marriage on Independence Day. And we get back from the beach Sunday the 5th, and you're away, but Natalie's going to join me, and we're going to talk East and North divisions, which means we're doing West and South tonight. We always go that way. We go West, South, North, East, and we finish with playoffs and Super Bowl. Absolutely. East Coast.
East Coast bias, baby.
100% on this show. Forever and always, amen. Now, if only the media companies would get their heads out of their butts and just, figure out that people out in California don't care.
You just gave me one of those moments that I had last night with the Phillies when the announcer goes, "Holy Schwarber," and I thought he was going to say something else. So they can get their head out of their butts, and I thought you were going somewhere else.
Last tangent. We'll go down. I was going to say maybe we'll talk about this at the end, but we'll quick do it here. But the last tangent has to be about baseball. Not just because I was at the game last night, the Phillies game, which was incredible, but someone, and I forget who it was, alerted me or reminded me that, oh, by the way, all this is happening and the Phillies fans are not listening to T-Mac and John Kruk call this game. Was that an option, or was it only on Fox?
I think it was only on Fox.
Yeah, see, that's awful.
Yeah.
That is terrible.
Yep.
Like, you want to put it on national TV, fine.
Right. For all the things people, and again, it's not the same, but at least Apple TV lets you put
radio
the
announcers,
radio announcers, which is fine. That's the next best thing. But yeah. And the Phillies announcers don't have the game tonight either because it's
on NBC. Yeah.
Yep.
Terrible. Awful. Baseball's the only thing really like that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I shouldn't say that because obviously the Eagles have Merrill Reese.
Right.
And who's on with him right now? It's a former player, correct?
It is Mike Quick.
Okay, Mike Quick. I was thinking it was a more recent player, like a 90s, 2000s player, but maybe he's on like the pregame show or something.
It could be.
I feel like it was one of the defensive linemen out, like edge rushers. I thought it was like not.
I know
Hollis
Quick
Thomas,
is the guy in the book.
Okay, so it's Quick with Merrill, but
right.
So obviously, same thing there, and but he's radio only. Like there is no Eagles broadcast of games. No. They're all national broadcasting groups that do things regional if it's not a primetime game. So it's a little bit different for football. But in baseball, you have these regional sports networks that broadcast the games, and we're used to listening to T-Mac and Kruk or T-Mac and Amaro or whoever they rotate in, and sometimes it's not T-Mac because he does so much other stuff. But we want T-Mac and Kruk.
Yep.
Like, that's who I want to hear call the games. And we just had one of the best Phillies games in modern or recent history, maybe in the 20 plus years at Citizens Bank Park, and maybe in the 26 plus seasons since the new millennium, like in terms of what happened, like the uniqueness of it.
Right.
And people watching at home did not get to hear that from
Yeah.
coming from Tom McCarthy and John Kruk, and that's a shame.
Yeah. Oh, Kruk would have been losing his mind last night.
Right, because you had Bryce Harper hitting for his first ever cycle.
Right.
You
in
had
5 innings.
In 5 innings, right? He was 4 for 4 and got a home run, a double, a single in the same inning, by the way, double and single in the same inning. And then the next time he came up, he hustled out a triple. And I know there are people whining about, well, it shouldn't really be a triple. One, by baseball rules, yes, it 100% should be a triple. Why? Because he never stopped at second base. He did not slow down. He was attempting to get a triple the entire way.
Well,
and why does that matter? Because that's what the baseball rules say. If he would have stopped at second and then advanced to third, it would have been a double with an advancement on the throw. But that's not what happened. The throw went home, and he was still going to third. If they would have thrown to third, he's out by a mile, and he doesn't get it. But they threw home to try to get Schwarber, and he gets it. So end of story.
Right.
Like, there's no debate there. Do you want to call it cheap? You can call it cheap, but it's real. It happened.
Right, exactly. And that at least follows the rules. There's guys dropping the ball out of their gloves now, and they call it hits. Not errors.
Right.
So, like, don't give me that.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. The way MLB scoring has gone over the last 10 so years is loony. And you honestly hear T-Mac and Kruk say it once a week.
Oh yeah.
They scored that a hit or they scored that an error. You know, like it it's very, very wild. And then there's Kyle Schwarber, who maybe upstaged Bryce Harper even.
Right.
I know some people are fawning over it. Incredible. Like what he has done in his time in Philadelphia is bananas. 3 home runs. He's only the fourth player in Phillies history to have 3 in a game? Or all the stats from last night are just filling my brain. But they're the second teammates to ever have a cycle and a 3 home run game in MLB history.
Which is crazy because baseball has.
Think of how many games have been played. And now I don't know if that's baseball history back into the 1840s or if that's baseball history since I see a lot of times it's like 1898.
Right.
I don't know exactly where they're drawing the line, but there's been a lot of baseball games played in the last 130 plus years. And this is only the second time ever that someone hit for the cycle and a player had 3 or more home runs in a game. I was really, really hopeful that when they put in their position player to pitch in the 8th, that the Phillies could get some hits and rotate through and get Schwarber up one more time, because then he would have had an opportunity to hit 4 home runs in a game for the second time in less than a calendar year.
Right.
Which our friend and pal Nick Johnson was at that game last year, which also I believe was Star Wars night. So he was getting Star Wars night in a 4-run home run game, and the films from Abbott Elementary were there. The cameras were there. That was on an episode which Kelly works with the cousin of one of the main characters from that show. So there's all kinds of crazy connections, but yeah, me and my family were at the game last night, including my parents, including my brother-in-law and Kelly's sister. And to gloss over the fact, Brian got a foul ball off the bat of Bryson Stott, came into our section, and he came away with it. So now he has a ball from one of the craziest game I've ever been at. And here's one last stat for you, Justin. I've taken Natalie and Haley to 2 home Philadelphia Phillies games at Citizens Bank Park. They also went to a game at PNC Park. Phillies won that game as well. So they're 3-0 in games attended in person. At Citizens Bank Park, the Phillies have outscored their opponents when Natalie and Haley are in attendance 28-3. And we've seen 9 home runs.
We need to get them to more games.
Yeah. We said that to one of the attendees, and they're like, "You coming back? When are you coming back again?" Yeah. So, the Phillies like to play in front of Natalie and Haley. That's the only correlation, Justin.
We'll take it.
And so they beat the Diamondbacks. I think it was 13-1 2 years ago, almost exactly this time of year. It might have been today or tomorrow. Is 2 years since their first Phillies game ever, and it was against the Diamondbacks the year after that they came back and kicked us out of the NLCS. So we wanted to see them win, and they did. We saw 5 different players hit home runs. Didn't get to see Brandon Marsh play. Went to PNC the next year. Didn't get to see Brandon Marsh play, but the Phillies won. But when I was reading the lineup on the bus on our way down yesterday, it was pretty much the lineup I wanted to see.
Right.
It was everyone I wanted to see. It was their normal everyday starters, and I know we're in flux with the outfield right now,
Okay.
but it was who I wanted to see. I wanted to see Marsh, Crawford, and Rincones.
Right.
Rincones is struggling a little bit, but that right field position at the plate has been an issue all year. But those who I wanted to see play, and we did. And I think he's the only starter that didn't have a hit because I wanted to send you guys everybody hits, and he's the only one that didn't get a hit the whole time we were there. But it's okay. We had a fantastic time, and they won 15-3. We saw Duran pitch,
Right, exactly.
because I said all the whole time. I said I don't want to wish for a close game and have him come in a save situation. Because I believe he's going to pitch no matter what, because he hadn't pitched since like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right. It had been 10 days, I think.
Is that how long it was?
Maybe it's been 10 games since he's been available in like a save situation.
Okay.
But
I knew it had been a while. So I was like, I think Duran could pitch.
Yeah.
And then as Natalie asked me the inning before, was like, do you think we're going to see him? We couldn't see the bullpen, and there was nothing on like saying who was warming up that I noticed. So when they got to the bottom of the 8th and the lights went out and the thing was like scan here, everyone started going nuts. And everyone was already like in a state of euphoria because of what they had just witnessed. So having Duran come in that situation, it just put a cherry on top of the most amazing Phillies baseball game I've ever been at. And I said to you guys in the group chat, unless I'm there to see the Phillies win the World Series, I don't know that they can top what I just saw.
Right, because it was everything you want.
Cycle 3 home runs from the same player, one of which was 2 in the same inning. And the stats are flying all about all that. It was amazing. So, I'm glad that was the game we got to go to this year. What an incredible pick. I said to Lauren Madera, who put the bus trip together, I said, you couldn't have picked a better game. Right. Like, you will never top this. I can't imagine you will ever top this. You should like hang him up and be like, I'm done organizing bus trips because
thank you very much.
we're done here. Thank you. So Phillies playing better since we were on the show last. It's been a while. Phillies playing better. Had a little bit of a downturn here leading into the start of the Mets series. Had a great game yesterday. Hopefully this evening they can do the same. Again, that'll be on NBC and Peacock. We got a lot to cover, Justin.
We can get going.
Let's get moving. So let's start out west.
Yep. You want to do NFC or AFC?
NFC West.
All right,
first.
sounds good.
So,
do we want to do 4, 3, 2,
4,
1?
3, 2, 1. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Do you want me to go first?
Yes, you can go
right.
first. I got some
I think this one is pretty easy, in my opinion, at least of what it should be. It should be the Arizona Cardinals.
Yes.
They are in need of Jacoby Brissett coming to save the day at quarterback right now. That's not to bash Jacoby Brissett. If I was in the position Jacoby Brissett was in, and the team that needed me to be their quarterback,
right,
like wasn't going to pay me, I'd be like, you guys need me more than I need you, because I truly believe that. Because if Jacoby Brissett were to be released, he'd be picked up in an instant by someone as their backup.
Maybe the Vikings.
Yes, that's for you and Natalie to discuss. Right. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, Jacoby Brissett, if he wants to play, is not going to be out there for long, especially if the Cardinals are still paying him. Because at that point of a veteran's career, they're going to have to pay him no matter what. Arizona doesn't have the weapons. Honestly, I feel like they need a hard reset. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think, is still really good. It's just not working there, but they haven't had the weapons to get him the ball. I don't know. It's weird. I would... Early in this cycle of offseason, there had been talk that maybe the Eagles could try and trade for him, knowing that there was going to be some rotation in the Eagles wide receiver room. I don't think that's the case now. You know, this was months ago when there was foreshadowing of the turmoil that was to come in that room. But like, I'd be interested to see what Marvin Harrison Jr. could do on a legitimate team. But they just don't have the pieces right now. I think the Cardinals are in for a hard reset. And when you look at the rest of the division, which is all very good, or good to very good, I think they're in for a rough go of it. I think the Cardinals could be one of the worst teams in football this year.
My dad's going to love this, but I have breaking hockey news.
Oh,
it's not related to the Flyers. No. I'm sorry. But we were talking about the Olympics a lot back in February. And some of the centerpiece of everything surrounding the Olympics and USA Hockey were the Tkachuk brothers, and the Ottawa Senators are sending their captain Brady Tkachuk to the Florida Panthers, where he would reunite with his brother.
The only thing that could have made this better was that they're trading him because he wouldn't take off his gold medal. He wore it everywhere around the facility.
So Brady and Matthew Tkachuk, son of Keith Tkachuk, who was on Team USA in the 90s, they're reunited down in Florida. Florida had a bit of a down year after winning back-to-back Stanley Cups. They need to rebound, and the Tkachuks playing together could be one way to do that. Yep. So I know there's a bunch of people that don't like the Tkachuks.
They're a perfect example of I don't really care for them in the NHL, but I love them on Team USA.
Team USA.
They're a perfect example of when they're on your team. Yeah, love them.
Well, that's why when I saw and I said it wasn't the Flyers, like, man, I wish it was the Flyers. I wish the Flyers were getting a Tkachuk, because that is something that would be crazy.
Be a spark.
Yeah, so I just wanted to jump in with that just because I saw it right now, and we talked about the Tkachuks a lot back in February. So Brady Tkachuk reuniting with Matthew Tkachuk down in Florida. All right, so let's pick up the NFL talk again. I agree with everything you said, Justin. The Arizona Cardinals, I think, may be the worst team in the NFL this season. They might struggle to win more than 2 games. They are not good. They do not have a roster filled with elite NFL talent. It's been a rough go of it. They jettisoned their quarterback. We talked a little bit about the Cardinals a few weeks or months ago when I brought up that one tweet that I saw about how they thought, was that about Kyler Murray? Could Kyler Murray start on your team?
Right,
and about all the teams that this guy thought Kyler Murray could start for. It was an interesting discussion, and to see what this guy said. But the Cardinals are just a very, very bad on paper football team. I don't know that little LaFleur is he little? Is he younger for LaFleur? I guess I don't know. The second LaFleur coaching in the NFL, Mike takes over a team that was 3-4 last year, and we're saying could be even worse this year. Which, think about it, 3-14 last year, and they could be worse.
Yeah, it's hard to take a step back from 3-14.
Right. There's not a lot of places.
Yet I think they're poised to do it.
Right now, they picked 3rd in the draft and got Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame. Kind of almost feels like a luxury pick for a team that's so terrible to get a running back. They did get maybe a quarterback of the future in Carson Beck, the Miami Hurricanes quarterback in the 3rd round, but.
No, this feels like they're drafting a quarterback next year.
Yeah, and who the heck knows
with
what's
the top 5
happen.
pick,
right? Probably the number 1 overall pick. A lot of names at quarterback for the Cardinals: rookie Carson Beck, Jacoby Brissett, who's journeyman, Gardner Minshew, and Keaton Slovis. But
forget that if you have 2 quarterbacks, if you have 4 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback.
No, but the running back stable, like they added Jeremiah Love, and they had signed Tyler Algier, and they still have James Conner.
Right. And here's the thing, that they can't block for any of them,
right? Which
is part of the problem with the quarterback. When you can't block for Kyler Murray, who's as mobile as any quarterback, you're going to have issues. And so now you're going to put who back there,
right?
Like it's
now their 2nd round pick was Chase Besantis, the guard from Texas A&M, but man, it just seems like this is a tough.
It'll get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, and they have a late bye. It doesn't come until week 14 after they play after they host the Eagles and before they host the Jets. They're off the weekend of December 13th. So it's really late in the season for them to have a bye. They have a bunch of away games to start the season. 3 of their first 4 are on the road. 5 of the first 8? They have a lot of road games, and then they only leave Arizona once after November 23rd.
Wow.
It's because they're at the Chiefs on November 22nd. Then they host the Commanders, host the Eagles, have their bye, host the Jets, go to the Saints on December 27th, host the Raiders, host the 49ers. I guess, I mean, it's rough to have to start with that many road games, but it is nice around the holidays to be at home, I guess. A little home cooking for them. Do you think there's a possibility that LaFleur could be one and done, Justin? Like, I know every year people say that'll never happen, but we've seen it happen many
But if
times
well,
in the last decade.
Can you go back to their schedule just
Yeah.
so I can see like who do they have at the start here? Like
at Chargers,
So-
host Seahawks, at 49ers, at Giants.
all right, so if they're 0-5, if they lose to the Giants,
That'd be 0-4.
they
But like, who are they going to be favored against? Or
No.
who do you think they could beat? Not the Chargers, not the Seahawks, not the 49ers.
Possibly the Jets come week 15. Might be the first time they're favored in a game. And who's to say that they are by week 15? Like, they could be terrible. And the Jets will be bad. I don't think they're going to be that bad. Like, as in the worst team in football. They may be bad, but...
Here's something for you, and I think you can make the unfortunate connection for me. I don't know that the Jets are the worst team in their division anymore.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Well,
Again,
you won't.
Yeah. I'm
going to ask you to text me.
I'll let Natalie help you.
Yeah,
with
Natalie's
that
going to have that's going to be a glass shattering, reality altering discussion.
Are you going to start
Natalie.
with 3 in the AFC North or AFC East? We're just going to start at 3.
We're not going to talk about number 4, Natalie. You don't want to do that. But that would be one. Like maybe she is like, I'm all on board. I'm doing the homer pick, and then she ends up being right. That would be great to look back on, and her confidence was in the right spot.
I don't see more than a couple chances at wins. I mean, I know that's not how the NFL works,
right?
But
I mean, really, like based on last year and expectations, Chargers one of the better teams in the AFC, Seahawks one of the better teams in the NFC. Same for the 49ers. Right. Giants, new coach though, and they had 2 rookies that looked really good at times. So I don't know what to expect from the Giants. Lions, I think, are going to rebound. Rams are one of the best teams in the NFL. Broncos were a broken quarterback away from making the Super Bowl. Cowboys are always an interesting team, but they're not bad.
Oh, a heck of a lot better than the Cardinals.
Right. Seahawks. We already talked Seahawks and Rams. Chiefs, I think, are going to bounce back. Commanders, I don't know that they're as good as they were 2 years ago, but again, probably better than the Cardinals.
Right.
Eagles, definitely better than the Cardinals. Jets, I still think better than the Cardinals. Could they win that game? Sure. Saints, better than the Cardinals.
Right.
Like they're in a better situation than the Cardinals are right now. And I'd be shocked if the Saints finish worse in the NFL than the Cardinals. Raiders, not a great team. No. So they have a few,
but at least they know their quarterbacks,
right? But 3 weeks in a row, this is a prime opportunity to get some wins at the end of the season when you ruin your draft stuff.
The Raiders have 2 quarterbacks who are better than anybody on the Cardinals roster,
right?
Like at quarterback, so not great.
So all right, I'll go with my number 3 here.
Okay.
This is tough, Justin, because I think
this one is
tough. I think all 3 of these teams could make the playoffs.
I would agree.
I think I am going with. Oh man, it's tough. Well, but you know what? Screw it. I'm going with the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to win double-digit games, but I think in that division, I think Sam Darnold played out of his mind. And and this sounds stupid now after saying what he did with the Vikings and the Seahawks in back-to-back seasons, but I don't want to say I'm still in show me mode, but I don't know that I fully buy into the Seahawks being this elite NFL team. Last year was a funky season. They came out on top. I don't have anything against them.
They lose defensive genius Reek Woolen.
They also lost Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah,
is now playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. I just don't know what to make of the Seahawks, especially when I think the Rams are better. I mean, you got Myles Garrett. Added to that defense.
Right.
And they still have all their playmakers and a healthy in the offseason Matthew Stafford, who is winding down and looked like an MVP last year because I believe he won the MVP last year. So I just think the Seahawks maybe took advantage of the situation. Not that they're bad. I don't think they're a bad team. I'm not saying this team is going to only win 6 or 7 games. This team is probably a double-digit win team.
Yeah.
But I think they might be the 3rd best team in that division.
I can see that.
So I think I got to put the Seahawks. So what did you say for Cardinals record-wise? Did you say a record?
I didn't. I'll put them
2-15.
I'm gonna put them at 3-14.
Okay,
again, because I don't have the guts to give a team 2 wins.
I think I'll go 2-15 and tell them to prove me otherwise. But we're both right there.
Right.
I'm going Seahawks in 3rd. I will say, man, I want to say 11-6, but could you imagine being third place at 11-6?
There's a division to do it, though, especially when you have 3 good teams, but then a terrible team.
Right. I'll go 10-7, which seems like a huge drop, but I don't want to play the Seahawks in the playoffs.
Nope.
So I will go 10-7 just because it feels like 11-6 in third place would be wild. But could it happen? I could see it happening in the NFC West this year. But I will drop the Seahawks to third place at 10-7.
Okay, I'm gonna go Niners in third place. I'm also going to go at 10-7. I think they're fine. I think they're gonna have to overcome the injuries from the electrical substation.
Oh God, here we go.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I feel like, all right. So kind of like your Sam Darnold. Like, not that it's not there. Not that Brock Purdy is not good. He is. But in general, I feel like the Niners. I'm in the prove to me your window's still open kind of thing, because there's been a lot of, oh, well, almosts with them, right? And the windows just typically aren't that long. Now, I know I'll make the same argument like in favor of my Eagles still being relevant, but like, I just feel like maybe this iteration of the Niners, who is always really good, but just can't quite get over the hump or out of their own way, or have injury bad luck, or have wide receivers who get injured and then start speeding by the stadium instead of showing up for the team. Like, I don't know. There's all kinds of weird stuff going on with the Niners all the time. And it's not like a one-off, right? Like, it's years and years of just weird stuff with the Niners. And I think that where that shows up is when you have other really good teams in the division. And if the Rams weren't really good, if the Seahawks weren't really good, the Niners could win the division. And they still could. I just think it's been a long pattern of just weird stuff happening with the Niners. Just, like, and I don't mean like with, there's some conspiracy of injury thing. I just mean like they have guys like blow their Achilles. They have guys, get hurt and then never come back. It's just weird stuff going on. So I just think, I don't know why, but I think that doesn't, I don't think that changes. And I kind of putting them in third. Could win the division, though. I think it's very tight at the top. But I'm going to go to Niners.
You're probably about to talk about the Seattle Seahawks anyway, so I'll go back to talking about the Seattle Seahawks before I move to the 49ers, because they're my second place team. Remember that the Seahawks also lost Clint Kubiak and Rick Dennison from their offense because they both went to the Raiders. Kubiak is now the head coach of the Raiders, and Dennison went with him. In are Brian Fleury and Justin Outen. So staff overhaul because of success, which is what you want. I mean, you're the defending Super Bowl champs. I'm not trying to poo-poo the Seahawks, and it's not that I don't think they're going to be a good team. It's just, I think everyone's gunning for you. It's hard to replicate that success. I think this season could be a little bit different. They did replace Kenneth Walker with Jadarian Price, who's the other Notre Dame running back. So we talk about the Notre Dame running backs back to back.
Yeah.
Not as flashy, but still a very, very good running back. So, and the breakout year that Jackson Smith and Jigba had, incredible Cooper Kupp is still fantastic, but I just, it's hard for me to see them being able to maintain the height that they reached last year. But and we didn't talk anything about their schedule, but they end the season this year, Justin. This is the Seahawks ending 4 games at Eagles, host the Rams, at Panthers, at Rams. So 3 of their last 4 are on the road, including 2 on the East Coast, and the other 2 are against the Rams.
Christmas evening game, too. You know what? That 5:15, is that local time? No, that's Eastern time. No, that is local time, I guess. So that's an 8:15.
Yeah, that's
the night
8:15.
game. Ooh, that'll be a great.
Yeah, these are all Pacific time.
Wind down Christmas Day.
It's at 10 a.m. at the Panthers on January 3rd, though. 10 a.m. kick to them.
Right,
Pacific
right.
time kickoff. It's in Carolina. So
Right.
I just feel like that they could have a tough end of the season. They're buys in week 11. They got 49ers, Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, Rams, Panthers, Rams. They got 3 straight NFC East teams December 7th, 13th, and 19th.
Yeah, and 2 trips to the East Coast.
Yeah. So the schedule makers did not help them out at all. So my second place team is going to be the 49ers, which everyone I think forgets that they went 12-5 last year. They had a very good team. Interesting, like you kind of pointed it out already. They always have weird injury and like roster stuff off the field. It's just wild that this keep happening. Kyle Shanahan is there for how long has he been there now?
A long time.
A decade? Is he at a decade now?
Yeah, I think it is. He's one of the longest tenured coaches at a single place.
We talked about kind of funky scheduling for the Seahawks. Well, let's talk about the travel that the 49ers have to go through. Now, obviously, that is kind of inflated because they're traveling to Australia, but they still have to travel the most miles in 2026. 38,105 in the regular season. Week 1 is in Australia against the Rams. They also lost their defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh. He left San Francisco again for a head coaching job at Tennessee. Gus Bradley also followed him to Tennessee. So their assistant head coach and defensive guy, 2 big defensive guys, are gone. But I still think they're a very strong team, and they have added Mike Evans to their wide receiving core, and they brought back Dre Greenlaw, and if he could recapture any of the ability that he had when he was with them the first time, that's a huge add. They brought in Christian Kirk. So they are supplementing their wide receiving core very well, because they also added Dejon Stribling from Ole Miss in the second round. That was their first draft pick. I know, look, I'm not a big fan of Brock Purdy in terms of an elite starting quarterback. I do not think he is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. However, I do think he's probably the second best quarterback in that division. I know people will probably want to argue with me about that, and rightfully so, but I think Brock Purdy is the second best quarterback in the NFC West. I think the 49ers are the second best team in the NFC West. And I think that they, despite that early season trip, I think they have a maybe slightly easier schedule. It's not easy though, Justin, if you're looking at this.
Oh, you look at their stretch down the end.
They have the Seahawks right after Thanksgiving. They go East Coast to play the Giants. They then host the Rams. Then they travel super far to play the Chargers. So, I mean, they're a little home cooking in here. But then they got to go play the Chiefs in between the holidays, host the Eagles, and then finish at the Cardinals. At least they have the Cardinals to wrap things up. But slightly easier, I'd say, than the Seahawks. Not exactly easy. And they also have to travel to Mexico to play the Minnesota Vikings. So interesting schedule. Big one to start against the Rams in Melbourne, because when they come back, they've got 2 that they should 100% win by 2 touchdowns against the Dolphins and the Cardinals.
If I'm the Dolphins, I'm thrilled that I get them after the trip.
Yeah,
no, I know it's 10 days,
long
but
week and extra recovery.
But still, that is a long trip.
Rough, really, really rough. Yes, absolutely.
And the Dolphins will be. Yeah, that I'd be thrilled if I'm the Dolphins. If I've got to play them, that's when I want to play them.
And the Dolphins are coming off of I think they have a home game. Oh no, they play at Vegas and at San Francisco back to back. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. Miami has 3 of their first 4 on the road, but we're not talking about the Dolphins right now. Do you have anything to say about the 49ers? Because I think they're better than they were last year. I'm not going to bump up their win total, but I think 12-5 is realistic.
That's fair. I just feel like that other stuff has just been weird.
But the other stuff happened last year, and they went 12-5.
No. I agree. I think I'm going to have them flip flop with Seattle, like you said, for all the kind of the reasons you stated. And yeah. I mean, I think that's it. Very well could be flipped. Like they could win the division. Like.
Any of those three teams could win the division.
Would be like a 3-sided coin flip.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how 15 years ago we were like, the NFC West is awful.
Right. They had sub 500 team winning and getting a home playoff game against the Saints.
And winning that game. Yeah. Upsetting them. Yes. That was the Seahawks who went, I guess they were 7-9. Yeah. Because there wasn't a 17-game schedule. It was 10 years ago or so?
Yeah.
The awful NFC West was terrible. And now they have 3 teams that are really good.
But like you said, I think they're good. I think they're good enough to win, but I think we both are clear here with who our number 1 is, and they've got the guy who just won MVP. I know this is skipping, but like we got to the Rams.
We're there.
The
Everyone
guys,
knows.
the guys have their MVP of the league on offense, and they have the best defensive player in the league. They have the best offensive and defensive player in the league. Tough to argue against that.
So my dad chimes in and has the exact same order that you have. He has Los Angeles, Seattle, San Francisco, Arizona. He did give you win and losses, but yeah, I mean, they added Myles Garrett and they added Trent McDuffie, two incredible defensive players.
Yeah.
And why did they lose this
I
year?
think McDuffie is actually the bigger of.
It's possible, but if they hadn't lost Jared Verse,
no, you're right.
In the trade to get Myles Garrett, I'd maybe agree. But losing Verse, I think,
and Garrett will be flashy, but I think okay, the underrated pick. It's going to fly under the radar, but McDuffie is going to be a huge addition for them, and arguably as big as Myles Garrett. Maybe not as flashy and won't have like sacks, obviously, but like McDuffie's really good.
Just imagine what people would be talking about them if they didn't waste a first round pick on a Ty Simpson.
An absolute waste.
Yeah.
Because every other move shows that they don't
ready to win right now.
They're ready to win right now.
It just feels like they should have done something. An offensive lineman.
He's friends with like front office like families. Like, there's family friends there and somebody was doing somebody a favor.
Yeah. It's just very odd.
And that's not a knock on Ty Simpson. Like, he is
not.
what he is.
It is. Yeah,
but
exactly.
Like, the Rams were not a fit.
No. These schedules, though, man. Like, I think the Rams are maybe the best team in the NFL. I'm gonna have them go.
On paper, they absolutely.
I'm gonna have them go 14-3.
Okay.
Because I think they're the best team in the NFL, and obviously,
I'm gonna go with 12 and 5, just because I think they do have these brutal schedules.
But look at this schedule to end the season. After they play at the Cardinals on November 15th, they have their bye in Week 11. They then come back. They do host these first two games after their bye, but it's against the Packers, a playoff team, the Chiefs, who probably should be better than last year. They go to the 49ers. They host the Cowboys. They go to the Seahawks. They go to the Buccaneers, and then they host the Seahawks. And that is a gauntlet.
And
7 games at the end of the season.
Without even having start times for the last 2 games, and that Seattle one very likely could be a primetime game.
Yeah.
They have 5 primetime games already just on the ones I see. So, and you know what? That's not true because they go to Australia week 1. So that's another one. That's 6. And they're in primetime. They have 7 primetime games listed, and they only have 15 of their games have game times already.
Yeah, it's insane. The NFL is banking big on Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay's Rams to do big things, and I am too. I think they may be the best team in the NFL on paper.
They're also a fun team to watch.
If they stay healthy.
Especially when they're getting field goals blocked.
October 4th in Philadelphia, by the way. All right, we have 15 minutes and we still have 12 teams to talk about. So we have 1 minute total to talk about each team, Justin.
Okay. We're going AFC West now?
We're jumping into the AFC West.
Okay.
So we're talking about the Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos. I will go first since you went first last time.
But I think we're going to agree here. Anyway.
It's the Raiders.
Yep.
Like, it's got to be the Las Vegas Raiders. They are maybe the second worst team behind the Arizona Cardinals.
Right.
Or at least I hope that. I hope that they're the second worst team behind the Cardinals.
Do you? Do you?
Well,
I mean, right now and in season maybe, but like this time next year, are you going to be glad?
If you could guarantee to me that Arch Manning would be what his uncles were, I would say lose every single game this year. Lose every single one. Right. I don't care.
Right.
Look, it's been almost 26 years since I've seen the Dolphins win a playoff game. 26 years. They have not won a playoff game since New Year's Eve 2000, I believe it was.
A decent number of their players weren't alive yet.
Correct. They've got a new head. Like, we can't get into this now. We don't have time. But okay, so the Raiders are not good. They're
bad.
Probably going to be fourth.
They've got their
West.
foundation. They got new coaches. Got their quarterback.
Right, and they also got a luxury pick in a beastly running back last year. They
also have a co-owner who has inside information on the rest of the league. So
Clint Kubiak, I mentioned, was with the Seahawks, now with the Raiders. He's the new head coach. This is their 6th head coach since 2021. Wrap your head around that one. That may include interim head coaches, but still. They brought in Fernando Mendoza. They picked number 1 overall. He's the quarterback out of Indiana. Do I think he's going to be elite? No. Do I think he's going to be terrible? Also, no. So we'll see what happens with him. But I don't think the Raiders are that great of a team. Now, they do have Kirk Cousins there to kind of be the bridge to Mendoza. I see Cousins winning that job, at least for a few weeks until they give way to Mendoza. They have Genty. I know they're high on Jack Beck at receiver. Don't have a ton else at that position
Do you
there.
even know any of the other receivers on that team?
Philip Dorsett's been around a
I
while
know.
now. Jalen Naylor is in there. Trey Tucker, but
Oh
I mean,
my
really,
goodness.
like Brock Bowers is that off. Bowers and Genty are that off.
Most of the receivers, if you told me they were just like EA Sports generated names for guys who
Right.
didn't sign their licensing deal, I'd believe it.
They still have Max Crosby because that trade didn't go through. So he's obviously the face of not just the defense, but that entire team. I think it's going to be a rough year in Las Vegas, but I think quarterback situation is a little bit better than Arizona, and that's why I think they're only the second worst team in the NFL. What did they go last year? Do you remember, Justin? Were they 3-14?
Yeah.
I'll go 4-13. I'll be generous and give them one extra win and say 4-13.
I agree.
All right. Next, I'll let you go for your number 3 in the AFC West.
All right. So for number 3 in the AFC West, this is maybe a big one, but I'm going to go with the Broncos. I'm going to go with the Broncos here.
Coach Steve,
I see them just trailing off, and it's not because of Bo Nix. I just think they benefited from some of the things. I think the defense is still strong. I just, I don't know. I want to see Bo Nix do more. And part of that, it was also weird. All the stuff between him and Sean Payton, like at the end of the year. I'm not a Sean Payton guy. Like, he's one of those guys that where like the longer it goes, the less I like him. And I don't know. It's not any one particular thing. It's just weird. Like, I don't know. I was thinking this the other day. It's weird. Jameis Winston is one of those guys who like I couldn't stand in college and even early in his professional career. But like when I see him like doing like reporting from FanFest and World Cup, I'm like, But Sean Payton's the opposite. I'm just like, something about him. Just I don't know. And I don't know. I think they'll still be fine. I'm gonna put them at 3rd place, but I'm gonna put them at. What were Broncos last year? They won the division, but I think they're going to be maybe at 9 wins again. I think this is also going to be a strong.
They were
division.
14-3 last year.
Yeah, but I don't. There's no way they go 14-3 again. Not a chance.
No, I'm with you on that.
So I think they take a step back, a significant step back. I kind of have them at like closer to 9 to 10 wins.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I think the defense is good. I just don't believe in the offense.
I'm not right there with you. I do agree that I think the Broncos are going to take a step back, but I actually have the Chargers.
That's fair.
In 3rd place. You know why, Justin? The big thing for me, and it's not just because I don't like Jim Harbaugh, is they have the absolutely worst rest disparity in the entire NFL. -24.
Wow.
In net rest edge. That's 9 worse than the 2nd worst team, which is your Philadelphia Eagles at -15. The Chargers got screwed by their schedule opponents and dates that they're playing games. Look, I don't like Jim Harbaugh, but Coach Harbaugh is a good coach.
Yep.
And I do think that my buddy Mike McDaniel could do wonders for Justin Herbert. But they always also seem to have injury concerns and issues. We've seen it hit Herbert in years past. Last year, Omarion Hampton, their rookie running back, had issues. I believe they lost both tackles, Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater last year. So I think they have to prove that they can stay healthy. And the schedule and the way the rest days align, I'm told that that's a big deal. So I'm going to knock the Chargers down. I believe for the last 2 years, they were 11-6. Again, I think this division could produce 3 10-plus win teams. I do not think this division, though, is in the same tier as the NFC West.
I would agree with both those things.
So I think the Chargers go 10-7. And then, Justin, I'm going to put the Denver Broncos in 2nd.
Okay.
They were 14-3 a year ago. I'm going to knock them down to 11-6. I mean, who's your number 2?
All right, so I've been going back and forth. I am going to go with the Chargers at number 2.
Okay.
I think the Chargers. I think they're going to get momentum going. The rest disparity thing, that is a problem. But I think that Harbaugh's going to have them. Like, all those things are true. I can't stand Jim Harbaugh, but he's a great coach, and he doesn't need to cheat even when he does. But I think they're
Feels like
gonna.
we're talking about the Patriots.
I think
Justin.
he's finally going to have this. Yes, exactly. Very good. Why do you have to tarnish it on your for yourself? But I think he's been there enough. He's going to really be able to this is his established team now. It takes a few years in the NFL to kind of overhaul things so that it's kind of completely yours. And I think that's how it's going to be. And I think they're poised for a step in the right direction. I think they might actually win a playoff game this year. I'm going to put them at 10 wins.
Okay.
So I kind of have the Broncos at 9. I know that's tough. I think this is more of an even spread. Like, again, the Broncos are very good. I just don't trust the offense at all. I think the Chargers are going to be more well-rounded. Maybe not. Well, the Broncos weren't really flashy either. I think they're going to kind of be two boring-ish teams, but I think they'll be fine. And then, do you want me to go 1?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
we're the same.
Right. My 1 is the Chiefs. I think last year was an aberration. I think they're the best quarterback in the division. And that's saying something because Herbert is very good, but Mahomes has shown it. Mahomes could walk out today and be a Hall of Famer.
Do you think Mahomes starts the season, or do you think he's on PUP?
No, I think he's on PUP. I would like to think he comes back before the bye, but I'm not sure. Weeks 1 and 2 are tough. I don't know that they need him weeks 3 and 4. Like, they could win without him.
Oh, thanks a lot, Justin. No, I'm right there with you. I think he misses.
That'll be a game, though, Dolphins win, and it costs them the number 1 overall draft pick.
I think he misses the first 4 games and gets to the bye and starts to work his way back. I think they'll want him back in a home game. So I would earmark October 6th, although is the PUP list, do you have to miss the first 6 weeks?
Oh, it might be.
So that's a little bit dicey. If they put him on PUP for administrative and financial reasons and insurance and health, whatever goes into the PUP stuff. But if he goes on PUP, I don't know if he has to miss the first 6 weeks or exactly how that works. But if he does, he couldn't come back until October 25th in Seattle in week 7. So I'm looking around the bye. Now, maybe they say we won't put him on PUP. We'll make him the emergency third quarterback or something,
right,
and he'll miss the first 4 games, and we'll start working him in through the bye week and have him start that October 18th game against the Chargers at Arrowhead. But that's what I'm looking at. Now, can they go 2-2? Or better yet, 3-1 in those first 4, that would be icing on the cake for the way they start. Now, Justin, I think the biggest thing, I know Mahomes getting hurt the middle end of the last year obviously didn't help them, but I think they realized that their defense was not great last year.
No.
And that is evidenced by their draft as they went cornerback, defensive tackle, defensive end, safety with their first 4 picks. Mansour Delane went 6 overall, Peter Woods at 29 overall, R. Mason Thomas at 40, and then Jadon Kennedy at 1. Kennedy, the Oregon safety at 109. And then obviously they completely remade their running back room, bringing in Kenneth Walker from the defending Super Bowl champion and the Super Bowl MVP, and also added undrafted Jaden Ott, and they have Amari DeMarcado on the roster as well after he left the Arizona Cardinals. Talk about an upgrade there, Justin.
Yeah.
And wide receivers are still an issue for them because of what's going on with Rashee Rice. They need a big year from Xavier Worthy and Tyquan Thornton. Maybe our boy Amari Evans, an undrafted free agent, could also break through with them. Travis Kelce's back again. Offensive line maybe took a bit of a step back, but I think we could see them be a little bit better this year. And I think the defense will be better. So I'm going to put the Chiefs at number 1, tiebreaker with the Broncos, who I had at 11-6. I say Chiefs go 11-6, but win the tiebreaker in that division. All right, Justin. So rapid fire to get through. We have to go to the South.
That's
Uh,
fine.
and I think that's probably the division we usually spend the least amount of time in.
Deservedly so.
Right. There's not a lot that I have to say about the teams in the NFC South. But I went fourth place first last time, so
Okay.
you are up first.
All right. So fourth place in the NFC South. Just let me think here. I'm gonna go with
Panthers, Saints, Falcons, Bucks.
I'm gonna go with the Falcons, and I know that's kind of crazy, but I think they missed their shot. They have seemingly realized that they missed their shot, and they overhauled the front office because I don't know that Kirk Cousins was the guy, but that's part of the problem. You brought him in, and you paid him to be the guy, and then you drafted another guy behind him. And so far, Penix hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't been good enough to justify that situation you put yourself in when you were already paying a big time quarterback to begin with. Like it was just, it was negligence at best in the front office in terms of handling the situation. That money they spent on Kirk Cousins, if they were going to draft a quarterback, should have been spent on building a team around a rookie quarterback, and it wasn't, and it's just been in a disaster. Actually, it didn't start out a disaster, but it became a disaster in that season, and it has been a disaster since, and I don't see that really changing. I think they're going to need a reset, and I don't know that Penix survives that.
How many wins?
5.
5-12.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I have the Atlanta Falcons as the fourth best team or the worst team in the NFC South. I don't think they're a very good team. I don't think they're the worst team in the NFL. I don't think they're down there with the Cardinals, the Raiders, and possibly my Dolphins, but I don't think they're great. I could see them about 5. Yeah, I think 5 to 6 wins for them. So I have the Falcons right there as well.
It would be a very Falcons thing to win 7 games and not get a top pick.
My next team is the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
I put them in third. I know they won the division last year. I feel like a lot of it was smoke and mirrors and a lot of weird things. I don't hate Dave Canales by any stretch, and I thought Bryce Young was getting a raw deal. He played better last year. The team was coming together. I just don't know that they're better than 8 and 9. And I think because some of the other teams I think are better than them, I have them dropping down a bit. I'll put them at 7 wins and in third place.
Right. Yeah, I'm right on board. I think the Panthers can still be headed in the right direction, even though they may take a step back this year. Like progress isn't always linear, right? And I think this is one of those. I'd like to see them be good enough that Bryce Young and Canales still get the benefit of the doubt and get time to build, because we've seen this a lot, and I feel like we see it less and less throughout all levels of sports, is patience right now. And I think holding on to Bryce Young, I want him to play well enough to do it. If he doesn't play well enough, I understand why a team would move on, but I think 7 is maybe the borderline of that, but I think they could potentially still be in a good spot. I think that they can build, but I just don't think they have the pieces to consistently compete with the top 2 teams in the division for the division right now.
I think it would technically, I guess, be your to go for your 2 now.
Okay.
I was going to jump in,
but we're the same.
I think we're the same.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go with the Bucks at number 2 here. I think you could argue they have the best quarterback in the division, which generally kind of goes with it.
I agree with you.
But at any given moment, he might be the 3rd best quarterback in the division. Like
I also think the team is maybe souring or not listening to Todd Bowles anymore. I feel like last year was an issue,
which has been something we see with Todd Bowles as well. And like you lose some leadership with Mike Evans leaving. They still have talented receivers and they have talented guys. It'll be interesting to see if they can make it kind of go. They also, like, a lot of their guys are veteran guys, and like I love Chris Godwin, but Chris Godwin has had trouble playing every game because of some nasty injuries. But like it's also, there's a long way into a career to figure out how is Chris Godwin when Mike Evans isn't there, so we'll see.
They do have Egbuka, who's entering his second year now.
You're right, and he played really well at times last year. I think they could be very good. And again, if it comes down to if Baker plays the way Baker's capable of and is more consistent there, they could be really good. But man, they really shot themselves in the foot over and over and over again the entire second half of the last season. Like it became a division of who's trying to not win it, and the Bucks won at that contest.
Quarterback aside, they lost their biggest name on both offense and defense.
Yeah.
Mike Evans is gone. to the 49ers, and Levante David retired. So the Buccaneers, I think, are a little bit. I think their ship's taking on water. Sorry for the terrible pun, but I think you're going to see a frustrated Baker Mayfield this year. I don't think he's going to be able to perform the way he did in 2024 and at times last year as well.
Yep.
So I think that they're destined for probably being right around that 8 to 9 win mark again, which would be actually 9 wins would be an improvement because they went 8-9 last year. I think there's a very good chance that you could see Todd Bowles lose his job during the season, even if they're challenging for the division.
This is one of those two where I think we said this with some of the bad teams. The Bucs are not a bad team, but I could see if this starts going sideways, it could go south in a hurry.
Yep.
Like there's just, it could get ugly.
It could. So Justin, both of our number one teams in the NFC South are the New Orleans Saints, who went 6-11 last year.
I know, but I think they were headed in the right direction.
Yeah,
I don't think that Chuck is the best quarterback right now, but I think he's overlooked still, and I think he's going to be in that conversation in this division, not in all of the NFL, but in this division, I think he's going to be in that conversation by the end of the season.
I think Kellen Moore had a fantastic first year, and the way he handled the quarterback situation going from Rattler to Shuck, I think he did great. I think Doug Nussmeier is a good offensive coordinator. I think Brandon Staley is a great defensive coordinator, maybe not a great head coach, but I think he does well as a defensive coordinator. I think Tyler Shuck is going to take another step forward. I think they have an interesting stable of backs, and Kamaro's, nearing the end of his time as a big time player in the NFL, but they did bring in Travis Etienne. How do you say? He changes his name, I swear, every other week.
But I think that's a big pick because he can mimic a lot of what Kamara has been able to do for you over the years.
Right. And I just think because they're in a weaker division, I think they could come out on top. I could see them winning 10 games. I think they could get to 10-7, which would win that division. We really have to run through the AFC South.
Okay. Who do you have it for?
Well, that's a great question. So we're talking about the Tennessee Titans. Is that where I want to go? I guess I am up first, huh? Well, that's unfortunate. They were 3-14 the last 2 years. Brought in Robert Saleh, drafted Carnell Tate. I still think it's an uphill climb for them. Cam Ward, I don't think had a terrible first year. I do like Cam Ward. I think he could have a better year in his second year. I don't know that I think they're still the worst team. I think they'll be better, though.
It's interesting to me that you're like, oh, you saw Robert Saleh never be able to develop a quarterback.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, who should we bring in for our second-year quarterback?
Coach. Yeah, it's weird. It's not great. I think they could be a little bit better. So I'll say 4 to 5 wins, but still 4th place.
That's exactly where I'm going to.
All right. So next pick, I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, they were the team I was thinking about putting at worst. Okay.
Yeah,
yep.
So you're right there with me.
Yeah,
so
they missed it, and they were just a big emotional swing, and I think they're going to reset.
Yeah, well, then obviously we don't even know if their quarterback will be at full health. Daniel Jones tore his Achilles, correct?
Yeah.
So he could start on the PUP list. No one knows what to do with Anthony Richardson. They also have Riley Leonard and Easton Stick. I think it was wild that they performed the way they did early in the season last year. Didn't they race out to like a 7-1 record or something like that?
In a hurry.
Yeah, they finished 8-9. I don't think they're much better than that. Honestly, I think they could possibly be worse than that. So
Shane Steichen doesn't survive the season.
I don't think he does. I think they win about 6 games and finish in 3rd place.
Shane Steichen doesn't survive the season and then comes back to the Eagles.
Where are you going for your number 2?
Number 2, I am going to go. I'm going to go with Jacksonville.
I'm going to go with Jacksonville as well, just because nothing stands out to me to say that they're the best team in the AFC South.
I it wouldn't surprise me if they won it. It's just I think I wouldn't count them as the favorite to win it.
I think Trevor Lawrence had his most consistent season as a pro last year.
And that's what they need. They don't need MVP. They need good without the terrible. And that's what they got last year. And it worked well for him.
It did. Now, I don't think there's any way
he needs help
that they win 13 games. It's crazy to me that they won 13 games. 13-4 is bananas to me for the Jaguars. I don't think they can reach that height. I think they are closer to a 10-win team. So I'm going with 10 wins for the Jaguars in 2026, which means we both have the Texans as our number one team in the AFC South. I know CJ Stroud has really been inconsistent these last couple years. I'm a big fan of DeMeco Ryans. They were 12-5 and 1 game back of the Jaguars last year. I think they go 11-6 and win that division though this season.
I do the same thing. I think they're good.
I think they have a great defense too.
I think they've got a great defense, and I think CJ Stroud is going to be out to prove something after the way last season ended, where he was embarrassed. And
yeah, I don't disagree with you there. And in terms of net rest edge, Houston does have the best in the AFC South. Not by much. Tennessee's not too far behind, but I do think that's going to matter. Of course, we picked New Orleans to win, and they have the 5th worst net rest edge. So we just use that whenever we want, Justin. It's fine.
Right.
We
that's how statistics are supposed to work.
Exactly.
Pick and choose to tell the story
All right.
we want.
We want to get out of here because it is late, but I do want to mention my dad's pick before we wrap up. And in the AFC West, he is going with the Chargers, the Broncos, the Chiefs, and the Raiders from 1 to 4. In the South, he goes Buccaneers, Panthers, Saints, Falcons, and then here in our AFC South, he is going. I think he reversed the order on me here now, unless he has the Titans winning. But I think he went in our exact order. I believe he goes Texans, Jaguars, Colts, Titans, which is exactly what we picked from 1 to 4. So that is our first NFL preview. I know we didn't get too into the weeds with a lot of those teams near there at the end. I apologize for that. Talked a little soccer and Phillies baseball earlier, but that is the first half of the NFL. And Natalie and I will be back in 2 weeks to talk about the rest of the divisions, the teams, and Justin and I will connect so that I have his picks as well. So that's it. We missed a ton of birthdays. Sorry, can't give shout outs to everyone, but I will say happy belated to my daughter Haley, who celebrated on D-Day, June 6th. So happy birthday to her. And of course to everyone, including you, Justin, happy Father's Day.
Thank you, you too.
Great day so far. Hopefully to wrap things up here with a Phillies win.
That would be awesome.
All right. Well, thanks for listening and joining us, everyone, for episode 441 of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. I will be back in 2 weeks with my daughter Natalie to talk more NFL in 2026. For Justin Raffoff and I'm Joe Mays. Thanks for listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your email to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as the Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.